has been very important to have conversations with maverick women leaders when it comes to women empowerment. Well, this conversation is going to level up as we have Rahi Swarnabat with us. Rahi is India's golden girl. She is the first Indian woman to qualify for Olympics in 25-meter pistol event. She has won gold in the Asian Games and in the World Cup. She has been conferred with the prestigious Arjuna Award by Government of India. She has also been appointed as Deputy Collector by Government of Maharashtra. So let's hear it from Rahi on her journey of making it big from Kolhapur to across the globe. Hi Rahi, pleasure meeting you.
Same here, thank you.
So Rahi, you've achieved so much through your journey, won so many awards. So what made you choose this peculiar sport of shooting?
Actually, I come to know about this sport back in 2004 and 5 because I was in NCC when I was in school in 9th or 8th standard, something like that. And I didn't know that, I'm good at this sport or good at any sport rather. But when I started going to NCC camps and NCC trainings, then the coaches were there and the authority people were there, and they started talking about my shooting, and they were saying that you are a good shooter, your group is very very small, and you need to pursue this, or you can pursue this. But I didn't know until then that this is a sport, or I can take up shooting as a sport. So of course I ignored that because I was very very young to understand to take this as a sport. But I kept that in my mind somewhere because I was a very average student, very average person. So that was a very special moment for me when people were saying that you are good at something. So that was there in my mind somewhere. And when I finished my 10th standard, after that, there was a very very long and big summer holidays, because we used to have very very long holidays. Now they have entrance and all those exams in the holidays, but that was a proper big holiday. And my colleague now, Miss Tejaswini Sawant, she got 2 gold medals at the Commonwealth Games in Australia.
Okay.
So that was something triggered me to at least go out there at the shooting range in Kolhapur and see that what exactly it is. I mean, what shooting is as army NCC shooting, and what shooting is as sport shooting. So I went to shooting range and I explored that there were many shooters were there. Of course Tejaswini was not there, she was out there for competitions, but that picture was something that really hit me, we can say, or clicked me, that I was like, no, I want to try this someday or the other, but I would like to come here again and again. And the biggest point was, or the important point was, nobody was talking to each other.
Okay.
And that is something what I am like, because I don't like to talk much.
Like in your life, you're really calm and
yes,
composed.
I am like that. So I felt that okay, this is my place. This is what something, or this is where the place I can. I would like to come and explore myself and be myself. So this is what I felt for the first time when I went to the shooting range, and from there actually I started looking after this sport.
So it was just like a hobby that started, right?
Yes.
And then it got into, you got serious about it and you made it
Exactly.
your profession.
Exactly.
Okay. So we have heard names like Hina Sidhu and Anjali Bhagwat.
Yes.
So we also feel immensely proud that a girl from Kolhapur doing it big across the globe.
Yes.
So tell us about your experience and journey in choosing this sport.
Actually, it has been really great. Of course, even I had those ups and downs and bad experiences, good experiences, everything I have in my journey. But if I would if I would say that this was a learning experience, and it helped me grow in a very very different person, because I feel the exposure I got because of my sport, whether it's going to abroad and participating in the competition or beating competitors from other countries. So that was something gave me immense kind of confidence, because I was really underconfident person until then. But when I started getting medals and when I started getting success, then I felt like, okay, I am not less, I am not, I'm more than good enough than what I really think I am. I'm definitely more than that. And this is how actually I really grown up into this, sport, because I have started this sport at the age of 15, 16.
Okay, at a tender age.
Yeah. And now I am in the sport for 15 years.
Okay.
So this is, it's been a very, very long journey, and I think the very important, time of our life when we shape ourselves, I spent into, this game and, exploring myself, or, exploring out there in the other countries. So that actually, helped me understand the, how small the world is. But when we don't go out, we feel, world, Europe and Asia. It's the same world, it's just that just a little bit far away from us. But
it's been like a big exposure. Like at this age, you are traveling across the globe.
Yeah.
So tell me one thing: how this sport has changed your life as a human being?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question, because what happens when I started shooting, I really didn't have any, those smart and expensive equipments. I was just having very, very basic equipments to just start shooting and to be able to shoot in the competitions. So that showed me that your passion and dedication, and if you're disciplined, and if you're really, really focused, and if you really believe, things happen. You don't need those, expensive kind of, coaches or facilities or, world-class ranges. Of course, it's important when it comes to, winning Olympic medal. But it's really, really, it doesn't really matter when you start shooting, when you are, starting your game. You don't need everything on day one. So that I understood in this, in this period, that you can start from anywhere. You don't need everything on day one. You can start from scratch and you can reach wherever you want.
Unless and until you have that fire and that passion.
Exactly. That is very important, because see, there are so many people across India or across the world that they have everything. But if they don't have that fire inside, those things are useless.
Yes.
So that is very important, that what you are feeling and what you are able to do, or what you think you have to do, these feelings are really, really, important to work, work things out.
Okay. So this sport needs discipline, dedication and determination. So you are an absolute example of discipline, dedication and determination, as I can say, because I was just researching about you and I got to know that you suffered an injury.
Yeah.
And because of that injury, you had to, you had to get treated for a year. So you were away from the sport for a year.
Yeah.
So how did it impacted you on a mental level, wherein all your colleagues were representing India and you had to get treated? So in that particular phase, how did you manage it and how did you get back on the track?
Yeah, actually it was a very, very tough period of my life, because I got injured in 2014 May. But until 2015 December, I was shooting, because I was like, I don't want to miss any of the competition, because I was already selected in the Commonwealth and Asian Games team. And those competitions were there a few weeks away, and I, got injured. But I was like, no, I want to go to these competitions and I need to perform. And of course, the diagnoses were also, it was quite late. We diagnosed the, right thing, the fracture, after the Commonwealth and Asian. But I performed there and I got a gold and a bronze, respectively, in Commonwealth and Asian Games. And I, continued my shooting, because there were Olympic qualification rounds happening for the 2016 Rio Olympic Games, and I didn't want to miss that. I was like, no, whatever it takes, I'll just go and shoot. But at the end of the day, you have to, sometimes you have to accept the limitations.
Yeah.
Of course, because of the injury, I had some, limitations, but I was like, no, but that was illusion. I was not ready to accept the reality. That was the thing, and because of which I experienced, a really, really, what can I say, bad pain in my elbow, and because of that, I had to stop my shooting. My doctor suggested, if you don't stop now, you will have to stop forever after this. So you have to stop. You have to go for rehab. You have to come to clinic, and you have to, get treated, and only then you can think about shooting. And that was a really, really hard decision for me, because it took almost a year for a treatment and another year to get back on the track as an international shooter. So that was a, almost 2 years journey for me. And when I was getting treated, everybody was out there participating and winning medals and everything. And I was thinking maybe my team doesn't need me anymore because there are shooters and they are good enough. They are winning. They are going out. So I was like, okay, I think that's it. This was my journey, and this has come to an end right now. And yeah, now I'll announce my retirement or something like that.
It was like a lowest moment in your life.
Yeah. But then again, when I reach that level, okay, in a week or 10 days, I'll announce my retirement. I was in that phase.
Okay.
But then I again started thinking that why I started playing this game, because of the joy I get from it, because I feel myself, the way I am, because I am the best version of myself while I'm training. It's not about success for me when I started the game. And let's keep that way. Let's keep it very basic, just start again training, go to the shooting range for your joy, for yourself, and let's see what happens. And that is how again I started training and started getting back on the track. And for a year I was in the Indian team because I was good at even at the national level, even in that period. But at the international level it was really bad. So again I was like, maybe I'm not good for the international competition.
It popped up again.
Yeah, it popped up again. Because I was like, if I'm not ready for the international competitions, I should not, be in the team. Because then somebody can get the chance to perform. I should not, block the place if I'm not ready. That was my thinking. But then again, I thought that 2020 is coming up. In 2017, I was thinking this, that 2020 Olympics is coming up. So this will be the Olympic Games where I'll see myself, fully prepared, 360-degree prepared for this Olympic Games, and then I will decide what to do. But one Olympic Games, I want to see myself fully prepared, and there is no space to say that okay, I should have done that. There should not be any moment or any day that I should feel. And then I started building up my team, my physiotherapist, my physical trainer, my coach, my psychologist, everybody. And then I started preparing for my Olympic journey. And then I again got Asian Games medal. I got quota place for the 2020 Olympic Games, and now I'm back on the track again. Yeah.
So when it comes to a sport of shooting, it requires a lot of resilience, a lot of focus, and a lot of stability. And I'm coming back to the elbow.
Yeah.
So when it comes to this sport, your hand should be quite firm.
Yeah.
And you should have that focus. So at the times when you play, do you get distracted by the audience? I mean, how do you manage it?
Actually, I don't get distracted at all because I don't know how, but I always feel this is a gift I got from the nature or by birth. I have I have this with me that whenever I am at the shooting range or whenever I am shooting, I don't need to put that much effort to focus or to focus out things.
Okay.
Like audience making noise or maybe my competitors are doing something. I don't need to do that, and I feel that is natural gift. Because I know for few shooters, there are very good shooters, but they need to use their energy in these things. But again, I need to use my energy in something else.
Yes.
But this is something I feel that I have advantage in, that my focus and my concentration. Of course, we need to train it when it comes to the level like Olympic Games, but it's very very what can I say, very small things which I need to train, and for that I think my coach or my experience is good enough to to train myself in that way. But as I said, I enjoy my game in such a way that it doesn't really matter that what's going on around me. Yeah.
Okay. Right, coaches play an important role in your training and growth.
Yeah.
So how was your coach to help you reach this level?
Actually, there were many coaches until now, and of course for each level they all were really good enough or more than good enough. And I switched on to next coaches because I felt sometimes my coaches also felt that you should go to another coaches for next level.
Okay.
They were so modest and so clear in their mind that even they were they were ready to see their limitations as well and tell me that this is our limit and you should move ahead. So I found really good coaches in terms of being a good human being as well and being a good coach as well.
Okay.
So my recent coaches were Mr. Anatoly Podubny from Ukraine, and after that my recent coach is Miss Mugbaya Dotsurin from Germany. And both of them are really experienced coaches, and Anatoly was but little bit old school, we can say, because he was 75 years old when I was training with him. And he was from that time when Soviet Union was existed, and he was in that team, in Soviet Union team. He fought for the country. He was in that, he was an army person.
Okay.
So he was little bit old school kind of a coach, and actually he passed away in 2015. And after that I was training on my own, and as I mentioned before as well in this interview, that in 2017 I decided that I'll train myself fully in in each and every way possible. So my recent coach Mugbaya, she is 25 meter. She was my competitor actually in my past competitions.
So she was your competitor.
Yes,
and she became your coach.
Yes, she was my competitor. In London Olympic Games, we were shooting next to each other as a competitor.
Okay.
But in 2016-17, Hina Sidhu, my colleague, actually she asked me that I am going to approach Mugbaya because I got to know that she announced her retirement. So let's ask her to be a coach. So I like, okay, I'm in, let's do this. So Hina asked Mugbaya, and she was like, okay, I'll try with you guys. So we tried for a month here in Pune, that how it's going, and it went well, and that is why I continued, and then I trained with her until this pandemic happened.
Okay.
And that was a very learning experience for me, those 2.5 years. Because she herself is a Olympic, two times Olympic medalist and 6 times Olympian and world champion, and multiple World Cup medals she has. So that was something I was looking for. That I always thought that if my coach is is that level shooter where I want to reach, that would be really great if I'll have that sometime in my
So you
career.
basically had that vision about your coach.
Exactly.
That this is sort of the person I want to be my coach.
And she was into shooting. When I asked her to become my coach, she was a shooter few days back.
Okay.
And she was a world level shooter. So she was aware about how important exercises are, how important the mental stabilities, the physical stabilities, the balancing is, everything is so she actually introduced me to this 360-degree angle of being a world level shooter.
Okay.
And that actually, more than learning, I would like to say she increased my life as a shooter. Because maybe I would have shoot more for 4-5 years maybe, but because she came into my profession or my life, I think now I'm sure that this will go at least 10 years ahead of the time.
Well, but you are fortunate to have this mixed experience of mentoring, and it probably, we can see it in your results, that because of your discipline, dedication, determination, and the hard work put in by your coaches, you've achieved so much.
Exactly.
So this sport needs resilience. This sport needs calm, composure, and stability.
Yeah.
So how do you manage to keep your hand firm before the big game, or while you are playing the game? How do you manage to keep it firm?
Actually, there are two aspects. For example, as I mentioned, physical training is equally important.
Okay.
Because when we see athletes who are running or jumping, we feel okay, even they need to exercise, even in the gym they have to work hard. They need to work hard even in the gym and as well as on the ground. But let me tell you that running fast is a physical challenge, and not moving at all is a physical challenge too. So it's not easy to not moving, because our human body is made to move, to walk, to do things, not to just stand at one place and not moving at all. This is not a natural thing to do. So obviously you need that kind of a muscle tone to maintain your balance and stability. So you have to work full body in the gym, whether it's lower body or upper body or core, everything, each and every muscle, small muscles, inner muscles, big muscles, outer muscles, everything we need to work. And for that we add a few strength training, pilates, yoga, because everything involves different muscles and in a different way. So these all exercise types and ways are really important. So we do that. And again, that only that is not enough. When we come to the shooting range, we also need to train our body and arm and muscles particularly for shooting. So we do have particular exercises, holding exercises, breathing exercises, or maybe eyes closed exercises, so that we can get a very fine feeling of our body, the fine feeling of our muscle tone, that how muscles are working when they are relaxed, when they are involved. So this is a very fine feeling.
Okay.
When it comes to performing at higher level. You have to be aware, very much aware about your own body, and you should be the the controller of your physical activities. And at the same time, the mental stability is also very important. And as I mentioned that mentally, my coaches or myself, we do have that kind of experience that we can use that to improve ourselves each and every day. And I think we learn every day, we learn from every competition, and we do add few things in everyday training to focus, or how to control a number of thoughts which are coming to in my mind, or the quality of thoughts, how strong they are and how to remove them, or how to not think about something.
Okay.
These are challenges we do have, and every day we have to train our mind and body, because for people, for normal people, it's about every 4 years Commonwealth Games, every 4 years Asian Games, every 4 years Olympic Games. But for us it's each and every day. Otherwise we cannot perform on that one day, right? So it's a very long journey for athletes, because for example, even it's me or Hina or Anjali, as you mentioned, or maybe Gagan or Abhinav, everybody have trained for 10, 12, 15, 20 years for just that one day
moment. Yeah.
It is so important and it is so tough. So that is why it's very crucial.
So your sport needs motivation, like every sport needs motivation. So how do you cope up with the motivation? Like there are some days when we feel demotivated. There are some days where the energy is low. So how do you cope up with that?
Actually, initially when I was a kid, or I was a teenager, there were days I was like, today I'm not feeling like training, so I'll skip. So I used to do that. But the guilt I used to get, that was so strong that I couldn't even enjoy my, the holiday or whatever, the skip day. So after that I was like, even if it's tough to, get out of the bed, I will go, because that guilt will kill me throughout the day. So that is how it is, because...
So your guilt was your motivation?
Exactly. My guilt is my motivation, because I feel really guilty when I skip my session, when I, even if I come to the shooting range and if I'm not paying attention because, I'm not feeling motivated, still I feel guilty. So even if I'm compromising at my training, still I feel really guilty. That is why it happens, because I don't want to have that guilt. I don't want to be that person who is, not doing things like. And another thing is, now it's more about, other people who are supporting us for the sport. For example, now I feel responsible for the government who is spending for us, government who is, thinking about us, people who thinks that we are going to represent them in the Olympic Games. So now it's more about social responsibility than being, or getting some pleasure for us. It's not that anymore. It's more about society and people.
Well, talking about people at your level, so if we look at the history, there are a lot of people who have done so big in their lives.
Yeah.
So throughout their lives, if you read their stories, there are some inspirational personalities in their stories who inspired them to reach to that level.
Yeah.
So in your life, who are the people who really inspired you to become the Rahi Swarnavat?
Actually, there are people for each and every step or period, I would like to say. But when I started shooting, it was just because of Tejaswini Sawant, my now my colleague and very very good friend of mine. Because of her, I started shooting basically, the basic shooting. But after that, when I got selected into the Indian team, then I came to know, or maybe I got the opportunity to see and understand and experience the shooting of my senior shooters like Anjali Bhagwat, Suma Shirur, Gagan Narang, Abhinav Bindra. I've seen them as my teammates, and that was really really inspiring and motivating. To see them, that how dedicated they are. Because I remember one day, me and Anjali Didi, we were at the supermarket in USA for some competition, and I just asked her, Didi, when did you start shooting? And she said 1989, and I'm born 1990. So I was like, okay, her experience is older than me. So that is something. Then I was like, okay, I want to do something like this. I can't be satisfied with 5-6 years in the shooting, and no, that is not I can't call that shooter the shooter.
You have to dedicate your life.
Exactly. So for me, 20-25 years in a game, and at that level, being at that level is something you have done in your life.
Okay.
Well, so this I have because of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's really great of you. Like, you try to pick and choose certain
Really.
qualities from your colleagues.
Exactly. And still they are my colleagues, because Sumadhi, as I mentioned, Sumadhi, she's very very professional, and that is something I really like to see. And I thought, okay, I want to be like her in this thing, because sometimes it's very good to be professional so that you can work things out, or
Yes.
To have some people in your team.
As they say, like, you are a product of the people you hang around
Exactly.
with. Right?
It's very true. Very true.
Yeah. So, Rahi, this year has been quite tough on a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
Because of COVID outrage. So, it must have been tougher for you as well. So, tell me one thing, how has this pandemic treated you as an athlete?
Yeah, it was a very difficult situation, because I remember I was in Delhi, and the World Cup was going to be held in Delhi for the second time, but first time with the Olympic quota place. So it was very special for us. But I think a week before or 10 days before, the federation informed us that the World Cup has got cancelled, because the health ministry advised them to stop all the preparations and send the athletes back. So I was in my home on 20th of March, and since 21st of March it was lockdown and pandemic was going on around. But our ministry, central ministry or state ministry, or the organizations in Kolhapur were so
Helpful.
good with us, so helpful with us, that they allow us to train since May in Kolhapur, and nobody else was allowed. That is why I was the only shooter shooting or training at the 25 meters in Kolhapur, and that was the safest place to be in.
So,
Even
since the pandemic had outraged,
Yeah.
you were the only one shooter who was training in Kolhapur during pandemic.
Yes,
Wow.
during pandemic, and it was with the association, with the authority of sports, department of Kolhapur, sports department of Maharashtra, and SAI, the sports authority of India, and the health ministry as well, because health ministry had released at that point of time the SOP, the how to conduct the rules and
Yeah.
regulation, how to take care of yourself. And that is how actually I was out of training only for a month or two. Otherwise I was training. Of course the facility was very different, very basic, but for an athlete like us who are thinking about preparing for the Olympic Games, it was very important to be at least in the touch with your game.
Okay.
And that was there, that happened, and that is why I was really really satisfied, even though the facilities were not intact. But having said that, when we really got into the vigorous training again was October.
Yeah.
So almost 6-7 months I was out of that kind of a training. So when I went to Delhi, we had a quarantine, and then we started training back again, and that was a really really different feeling, because of course I had a break when I was injured. So that positivity was there with me, because I was like, in that period when I was injured, I was the only one sitting at home. Now everybody's at home. So that was something I was, trying to, cope up with,
Okay.
with that thought. And that happened. And in October, when we started training, it was a very, very nice feeling that finally we are back. Okay, competitions, no competitions, that is a different thing. But at least we are training in the best facility of the country and in the safest place, because the government of India created a bio bubble for us, and we were training in that, and still we are training in that. So that was a very, very good situation. But having said that, this is mentally very, very challenging situation for us. I think sportsman spirit is that only, that
imbibed in you.
exactly, that whatever the situation is, we have to give our best, is the, I think, sportsman
Yes,
spirit.
that is the true quality.
And yeah, so anyway we are going to do that, this way or that way. We, training without training, competition without competition, but our spirit is not going to be low at any point of time, because we are working hard each and every day since years for that single day. So I think we
It's-
are going to be
Okay.
the best version of ourselves in the Olympic Games.
So you've been qualified for Tokyo Olympics,
Yeah.
right? And due to this outrage, the Olympics were shifted, like those were postponed, right?
Yes, yes.
So how did it impacted your preparation
Yeah.
and your mental preparedness, I can say?
Yeah.
So you had been prepared mentally as well, right?
Yes.
The Olympics are gonna
Yes,
come.
yes.
So how did you manage that?
Actually, it was very difficult when the lockdown announced. The government announced the lockdown, because what happens, we actually create a flow 3 years before the Olympic Games, so that we, so that we can perform on that day. So basically, I am preparing for that day, or I am trying to get my highest performance on that day, and we are planning that since 2017 September. So that was a huge setback, or not only for me, every
For
athlete
everyone.
in the world. But what happens is that when the lockdown announced, of course everybody was like,
They were
we
down.
were there, ready to go. We are on the fire. We are ready, and just we'll be there and we'll kill it. We were in that zone. All were ready. But suddenly we got the news that Olympic got postponed, and there was like, okay, then now what we should do? There
What's
is no
next?
competition, there is no training, there is no motivation anymore, because one more or more than 1 year, but it got announced in March that it will be in July 2021.
And that was also maybe.
No, that was for sure.
For sure.
It was
Okay.
like that at that point of time. But then everybody was like, okay, now we are aimless. There is no goal, there is no motivation like that. But within a month or two, everybody was, like back again into the zone. Okay, no, we can't do this.
You all came back to the roots.
Exactly, because what happened that in March lockdown happened, but since April, the authority, I mean the sports ministry and those people, they started calling us that what are you up to, what you are doing, are you doing anything at how. They were not pressurizing us, but they were taking updates,
Trying to be in touch with you.
exactly. And that something triggered something into us. Okay, no, we have to be keep those things intact, we have to keep our routine on no matter what. And then again I started my routine, like waking up at 5 o'clock, doing some yoga exercises at home. Then I bought many exercises equipments at home, and I tried to match my exercise levels, whatever we used to do at home. So those things I've done during the pandemic. But I think not only me, but my teammates, our federations, our ministry, everybody helped us to get out of that period.
Okay. So, Rai, when it comes to winning and losing,
Yeah.
what is your best winning moment and most heartbreaking loss? And how do you manage these high emotional moments?
The very exciting or overwhelming moment is, I think, my Asian Games medal, because that was the first medal after I had injury.
Okay.
And that is something not about what people were talking about it, or how big it got in social media or in society, but it was very important for me to gain that confidence again in myself, that yes, I can perform at the international level. That was very important for myself. So that in terms of self-confidence, that medal particularly gave me
The
that,
confidence,
yeah,
yeah.
the confidence. And the loss, I think heartbreaking loss was when I had to take the decision to stop shooting because of my injury. And my doctors were like, initially they were like, you have to do surgery and your elbow might not be same again, and you maybe, you know, you can't shoot again. So that was a moment where when I thought, you know, this is it. This is the last moment of my career and I need to, you know, now announce my retirement.
How did you deal with this?
Actually, as I said, Asian Games was very big for, you know, our fraternity and, you know, society, but it was very, very personal to me. So I always think that it's not about this particular medal, but whenever I get any medal or any success, I always feel that this is not enough, because I can do better.
Okay.
I can do much better. There is a room to improvement. That is why I'm never satisfied in terms of, you know, I never think that this is the best day of my life, or the perfect day of my life, or the perfect my performance of my life. I never get that
You're a high achiever, so you have always
exactly.
have that
So
fire to achieve
yeah,
more.
so I have that happiness, I have that, you know, that excitement or that satisfaction in terms of, you know, okay, today's match was good, but not good enough for me as an athlete. I feel that there was a room.
You always set high expectation bars.
Exactly. So I actually never really reach my own expectations only. So that is a thing. That I never get too excited, or,
Okay.
you know, just like, okay, this medal and now my life is done and I don't need to do anything. That never happens with me. And another thing is, when it comes to loss, as I said, when then I go to basics, that why I'm doing this, you know, why I'm here in the game, why I want to continue this game, why I'm giving so much time and my life into this game. So these basic, I think, things answer my, you know, my heartbreak or my low phases, everything, that this is not for somebody. Of course, the success, the medals are for the country, but the basic satisfaction, the basic joy is for me.
Okay.
And
So
if that, you know, creates success, history and medals, then that is
for the
country.
nation.
Yeah.
So basically, the what drives you is the cause.
Yes.
Your cause is your
Absolutely.
satisfaction.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So right, to reach to your level, so your journey has been a great journey. You have worked hard. So to reach to that level, you have, you know, there needs to have more sacrifices
Yeah.
in your path.
Yeah.
So what are the sacrifices you have done to reach at this point?
See, when it comes to sacrifice, I don't feel that I have sacrificed, because what I feel is those things anyway I don't like. Of course, for people that is sacrifice. For example, I've never been to college. I've never, you know, lived that life of, you know, college going person, or I have never been to any of my family functions, important family days, or I've never been to family trips for a week or 10 days since I've started, you know, shooting. But the kind of joy and satisfaction I get while training, that is not, you know, that is, I can't compare that. You know, I don't get that in any of these things anyway. So maybe for, you know, it looks like I'm sacrificing something, but for personally, for me, it's not a sacrifice at all. So that is why I'm ready to do whatever it takes. I'm happy to do whatever it takes. That is why I will not call it sacrifice, but my life has been, you know, just been around this game. If it's about going out, sleeping, not going out, being with family or not being with family, everything is, you know, runs around my game only.
Okay.
That whenever you know, my friends invite me for dinner, I said no, because I have to sleep on time, because I have a training on next day. So every, you know, single and small decision of going for a movie, going on a, you know, dinner with friends, or everywhere, that, you know, turns around, you know, or that depends upon my training on the next day, or whether I'm training or in competition or where I am. Everything is depend upon my game, and I'm very happy to do that.
Okay. So you have like conditioned your mind with regards to that.
Yeah.
Like for others, it is sacrifice. For you, you're too much engrossed into your passion.
Yes.
And that drives you to that level.
Exactly, absolutely. Yeah.
What do you choose to challenge as a woman leader to achieve an equal future in times of COVID-19?
I would like to challenge all women out there
Okay.
to be, you know, to be true to themselves. Of course, I totally understand there are situations, there are some places where we need to mention that we are women and we need to have our rights, or we need to have whatever we are capable of, or whatever we are good at.
Okay.
But I think at least to ourselves we can say that we are human beings.
Yeah.
We are not men or women, or less than somebody or more than somebody. We are just another human being, and we are able to do whatever we want, whatever we feel we are able to do it. We have to do it, we need to do it. So I think let's start from within to accept ourselves just as a human being. And that is, I think, I challenge all women for themselves, and I challenge this for society as well, to accept each and everybody just as a human being.
It's a great message
Thank
and a
you.
good perspective as
Thank
well.
you so much.
What would be your inspirational message to all the women out there?
I would like to say that to not consider yourself less than or more than somebody. Just be yourself, because what happens is we tend to compare ourselves with other people and other different types of people, and then we tend to we don't perform ourselves what we are capable of or what we are good at, and that is how we lack somewhere, just because of comparing, not because we are not good at. That is why I think stop comparing, do whatever you are able to, whatever you are feeling of doing, and that is, I mean, you will see that is more than good enough, because we consider ourselves much less than what it is exactly, or what it is in reality. That is why just I think let's do whatever we are feeling of.
I'm sure that looking at you, many women will inspire.
Yeah.
So to make this conversation more interactive, we are going to play a rapid fire round. Rahi, are you ready for the rapid fire?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll start with the first question. If you could play another sport, what it would be?
Tennis.
What is your favorite food to eat a night before the big match?
Anything light vegetarian.
What 3 words describe you?
Patience, dedication, and discipline.
Wow. What do you give up to play sports?
Nothing. I gained a lot.
We came to know that you are an avid reader.
Yeah.
Name 3 books which are your favorite.
Parv, Wings of Fire, and Tada.
Favorite movie?
Jab We Met,
Favorite actor?
Kareena Kapoor,
Favorite sports person?
Rahul Dravid.
Wow. So well, Rahi, thank you so much for your inspiring story. Our women at FigMD would be quite inspired from your story. There are a lot of takeaways from your story.
Thank
It is your discipline, dedication, determination, and your thrive for success. So thank you so much for your time, Rahi.
Welcome.
Best
it was
of luck.
pleasure meeting you.
Yeah,
Thank
same
you
here.
so much.